new club.
Yes, they're going to be.
Right. Darlington got demoted 4 divisions. Now, I know you'll say Darlington and Rangers, it's not the same. But surely is there not a little bit of favouritism towards Rangers in this case?
Well, I think the point has to be that Rangers were in the top league. Rangers were in the highest league. Darlington were in the Blue Square Bet Premier and were relegated from that.
Yes.
So, and also I think what you've got to look at is Darlington, I wouldn't call them a prized asset in English football. I would call Rangers a prized asset in Scottish football. Dale, what are your thoughts? Right, well Dale doesn't seem to be talking. His headset's not working.
We're having some technical difficulties.
We're having a few problems, but I'll just fill for Dale for a few seconds then. Dale, are you back? Are you back?
If I can get in on this.
Yes, well you can if you answer.
Well, like I was trying to say, Gattuso is linked with signing. It would be one. I don't think he was signing if they dropped down a few leagues. But the SPL, to me, is not a very good league. No, I think it's too one-sided really, and particularly with the way Rangers have been going now. And I think it's just a real. It's a shame because I think the Old Firm derby is about the only thing really going for it in my opinion, and it's a sad state of affairs, and maybe one day Celtic might decide to join English football.
Well, I personally believe that the SPL has a lot going for it. Unlike the English Premier League, all the SPL clubs focus on building youth. Instead of spending vast amounts of money, they focus on youth academies and they focus on, in my opinion, being sustainable. I know that you're gonna say Rangers weren't, but in my opinion, Rangers have been dealt the nasty blow of an owner who clearly had no intention of helping the club. Well, Hearts still are struggling, but they are looking at getting new investment in. Basically, their owner in the last 6 months has decided that he doesn't want to own the club anymore. Hence, funding has been cut. And Jack, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you think that clubs in the SPL would focus as much on their academies and the youth team if they had the same kind of resources and financial backing as those in the English Premier League do?
That's a very good point. And I think the reality is football in Scotland is still, in my opinion, the fans in Scotland are as passionate as the fans in England for football. That's my personal opinion. I've been to a lot of games in Scotland. I've been to games in England, and I just think, people who say that the SPL is a poor league clearly don't watch it. In my opinion,
well, I do watch it, but I was listening to another talk show the other day, and there was fans calling in saying, well, annoyed really, fans like Sunderland fans, about that. There's
what
only
do you mean by
certain,
that, Dan?
No, well, I'm getting to the point. Only certain teams can win the Premier League at this stage. Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal at a push, and Chelsea. And they're saying that makes the league boring when only certain teams can win it. And now I'm sure Scottish teams must be feeling that when it's only really Celtic next season that can win the title. No other team has a realistic chance of winning it.
I certainly think things need to change in the SPL. I'm not going to say that things don't, and I think it does need to be more competitive. But I think when you look at I think people who criticise Celtic for overspending have to look at the fact that Celtic are sustainable. Celtic spent £2.5 million on Gary Hooper. They will, if they decide to sell Hooper in the summer, easily they'll make, I think, treble that at the very least. I think he'll go for about £8 million and I think, unlike some certain football clubs in England, for example, I'd probably say Liverpool is one of them who overspend for the sake of overspending. Mm-hmm. I think, you've got to give credit to Celtic for being able to spend within their means rather than spending £20 million on a player you're going to never play.
But you say spend within the means and whatever, but I think the wage structure and the money that Celtic have compared to the other Scottish clubs gives them a massive advantage over the other clubs.
Yeah, it does.
Who, are struggling to buy players, say, $1 million, when Celtic can spend up to, 5 to 10 million on players.
Well, I think one point that has to be made is that the SPL will change in the near future. Plans have been put in place for changes to be made. The problem is that Rangers, Celtic, Hearts and Hibernian have rejected them ideas, and Dundee United as well.
Well, if I was a Celtic chairman, I'd also reject the ideas. But purely because on a business term, Celtic are surely going to win the league for the foreseeable future.
Well, I think personally, I think investment is needed in all the clubs except Celtic. But whether that happens or not, whether the SPL is seen as viable, I know that there was a report that Celtic and Rangers was being seen as possible candidates to join the EPL, the English Premier League. Maybe that is a route forward, and I think if that happened, Celtic would at least give the top four a run for its money.
No, I can't say that.
I could see Celtic maybe giving the top four a run, but
no, I think
they're about
struggled to get in the
Newcastle
top
quality.
10. I would have thought
maybe just a bit worse.
No, I genuinely do think that they'd have put a very significant push to get into the top four.
No, so look at the players Newcastle have, and look at the players Celtic have. So Newcastle, I feel really bad admitting this, but they do have some world class players in their team
who are all going to leave, probably. In all honesty,
yeah,
they
some
prob-
of them
probably
might
will
leave.
leave. But Celtic, I can't really see any world class players. I mean, Georgios Samaras. I mean, we all saw what he did at Man City
against Poland.
Well, I would just say this: while I understand your thoughts and feelings with that, I think that Celtic have one or two players who are potential world stars. Berman Kayal, for a start, is somebody who I think has the potential. I think that Celtic as well have been able to, buy more and more people from the academy in. And, that's always a positive. Are they world stars? Probably not. But I think Celtic have one or two players who could very easily play for the top clubs in the EPL. That's my personal opinion. Del. So, Del Harris, what is your news of the week?
My news of the week is the kick-off of Euro 2012 in Poland and Ukraine. The first round of games have been played and pulled up some very interesting results, such as Denmark's win over Portugal.
No,
Portugal
over Holland. Holland.
Sorry, you distracted me there by your hand signals. So I think it's been a very exciting start to the tournament. England had a solid result against France, if not spectacular.
Job, really, I mean,
and Ireland crashed to a defeat against Croatia.
I thought Ireland were unlucky, in all fairness.
Well, I think I'll answer this one, and you two can answer the England question.
Yeah.
My personal opinion was Ireland had a bad day at the office, full stop. But there were a number of decisions that I can't believe they weren't given. Robbie Keane was fouled in the penalty area. It was a penalty. The Croatian defender, you can tell Chorluka, more or less is like, please don't book me again and then send me off. I mean, but I think Ireland, have just got to go into the Spain game now thinking that's it. This is it. We lose 25-0, we're out the tournament. We draw 0-0, we're probably out the tournament. So we've just got to go and try and win. And although we're facing the current world and European champions, why not? We went to France with our backs against the wall, and if it wasn't for a certain hand, thanks Thierry, then I think Ireland, would have had a great chance of going through. But Del and Jack, what were your thoughts regarding the Ireland game?
You didn't turn up, basically. You've allowed
Ireland.
Croatia.
I will just add Ireland.
Yeah,
didn't
Ireland.
I wasn't playing. I wasn't playing.
I thought you allowed Croatia far too much space on the ball.
Again, I wasn't playing.
Ireland allowed Croatia far too much space on the ball, and you just didn't have the attacking guile that Croatia possessed.
I think Croatia have some world-class players in their team. I think it showed. I mean, Modric, Jelic, they're just two examples of some of the attacking players they got. And I don't think they're that good defensively, Croatia, but Ireland really didn't pose not any problems because they didn't really have the possession. And when they did have the possession, they just gave it away cheaply.
I think another point has to be made that Croatia have a world-class coach. I've always rated Slaven Bilic, and I think apparently he may be leaving the nation after this Euro, so maybe a positive Euros would lead to a job in the EPL for Bilic. I know he's a fan of a number of.
Well, he has
Premier
been
League.
linked with quite a few in the past.
He was linked with the West Ham job recently, so
I think he's got to be commended for sticking with Croatia, because there have been people in the past, such as Alex McLeish and Walter Smith, who have left there.
i.e. Scotland managers.
Have left their own